Welcome to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation's Conversations at Home program. I'm Scott Mantz. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce to you actress Vanessa Burghardt and writer, director, producer, star, key grip, Cooper Raiff. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
So excited. So excited. Now, first of all, congratulations, because almost a year ago, when the film made its premiere at the 2022 Sundance Film Festival, it was the winner of the Audience Award, and it is very easy to see why. So, Cooper, really the first question is, why this film as your follow-up to Shithouse? Cover your ears, Vanessa.
Vanessa's like 8. How old are you now? 18?
Mm-hmm.
She curses like a sailor. I wasn't trying to make a follow-up to Shithouse, but the seed of the idea was actually the mom-daughter relationship, and I couldn't exactly, I felt like I didn't know enough to make a movie centered on these two, so I did what I know best, which is to place myself in the middle of things, which because the person I do know best is a 22-year-old dummy. So that was the impetus and the genesis of Cha-Cha.
So Vanessa, what was your first take on the screenplay when you read it, and what were the first conversations that you had with Cooper about playing Lola?
I didn't get to read the script at first. At first, I just had a couple sides when I first did the audition. And then I read with Cooper my first callback. And then after the role, after I got the role, that was when we started having conversations. Like, he would ask me about the script, or he would ask me about my opinions on things, and I would just give him answers. And I'm kind of a strongly opinionated person, so I think it was incorporated into the script, but I never felt like I was like pressured.
Well, beyond what was incorporated into the script, what were some of your points of connection for Lola?
Like in general, or
like just, how did you approach playing the character? What was your entry point into playing Lola?
I don't really think about it very much. Like, obviously I'm also autistic, so that was kind of my starting ground, and then I just memorized my lines. When I think about things too much, they never turn out right.
Right, sure. Yeah, Cooper, is it fair to say, what Shithouse, you're playing a young man at a certain age, and now here you are in Cha-Cha Real Smooth playing a man at a certain age, that you're making movies that just match who you are at that moment?
Yeah, I don't mean to. But it's just what I do, like, write what I know.
Yeah.
And that is what I know is I don't really know myself, but I know myself best, probably, I think.
Well, what were the first conversations that you had with Vanessa about Lola, and about how, that performance, that character was going to play out?
She was doing something very specific with her audition, and I just wanted to lean into that as much as I could. And it was just a matter of, like, I would show her changes, and then I'd say there would be like a line or two. I always just didn't want to put the onus on her. So when we had Zooms, I would kind of very subtly say, do you think that's funny? Or do you like that? And she'd be like, no, I don't like that. No. And then I would kind of be like, what should she say? I don't know. I kind of like had her write the role without her really knowing, I think. But yeah, I guess the conversations were about everything. It was about everything. We didn't miss one thing about Lola. We talked it all through.
So Vanessa, tell us about, your first meeting with Dakota Johnson, because not only is Dakota an actress in the film, she's also a producer on it. So what was it like meeting her, and how did talking with her help you sort of figure out the relationship that you and Dakota were going to play in the film?
We first did a Zoom like a couple days before I went to Pittsburgh, and then right like 2 days before we started, we met really briefly at a coffee shop, but that didn't really like inform anything. Like, it was so brief, and I kind of just had to hope from meeting her that we would connect, because we didn't I'm quite hesitant when I meet new people. So it usually takes a couple of times before I can kind of like let my guard down and figure out if there's someone I'm comfortable socializing with.
Sure, sure. And from your standpoint, Cooper, what made Dakota not just a great partner as an actor, but also as a producer?
She's a really great protector and really wanted to tell the truth always. Like she's not someone who goes for what's the most entertaining. She's got a very specific sensibility, and I think that I share that sensibility in a lot of ways. And so it was a joy working with her, and I think we always thought about things similarly. So, and she was also just very helpful in terms of creating the Domino character. Like she, in the same way that Vanessa helped with Lola, Dakota helped with Domino.
Excellent. Yeah, sure. So Vanessa, I would love to hear more about just like when it came to the relationship that you have with Dakota in the film, and just the trust that you have for Cooper, not just as an actor, but also as a, producer, director, writer. It takes a little time for you to sort of feel comfortable and everything. Like, do you remember like what it was that moment that you really started to feel comfortable making the film and really trusting Cooper and Dakota?
I think it was probably the way that they both treated me when we were on set. It was just like a very, I don't know, they just treated me normally. Like, and it's such an underrated like feeling to feel like you belong like just as you are. And it made me feel like very safe, like I was okay.
Yeah, would love to hear from your standpoint. Cooper, every conversation I have with filmmakers and actors, it's all about like the trust, and how did that work like the other way in terms of the trust that you put into the actors that you work with in the movie?
I had all the trust in Vanessa from the moment I saw her first tape. Like she had the role right away, and we met a bunch of times. It's very, very, her Lola was very different than the Lola on the page because she's a bit older, but I knew it was her mostly just because she's so talented. She's just really a really great actress, and I knew we could try things and figure out like what's the best version of this character. And so I had trust in her right away. Dakota was a different story. No, I had trust in her right away too, because she took a chance on she had seen Shithouse and was very sweet about it, and I felt really seen by her, and when I wrote the first draft and showed it to her, the way that she just talked about the script and just the Domino character felt like, oh my God, this is the perfect person to play this role. And so yeah, I had trust in, but that's key. Yeah, the trust is the most important thing, especially with actors.
Vanessa, tell us about the prep and the rehearsal that you did. How much prep and rehearsal did you do?
We didn't really do rehearsal. I mean, I guess I did with Cooper. We kind of like those Zooms that we did, but like there wasn't like a proper rehearsal period. I didn't rehearse with Dakota. And usually I like to like know how things are going to be in advance, but for some reason, I don't know what happens to me when I'm on set, but I become like a very calm version of myself.
It really is her I don't know what the word is, sanctuary. But we rehearsed I love to rehearse, and I think Vanessa does too. And Evan, who played the brother, he really likes to rehearse. So we rehearsed all the time, but none of the other actors wanted to rehearse at all. They were too talented for that. And so,
sure.
So the first time they read together was on camera.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like Dakota and Vanessa. So that was crazy.
So when you all got together, like when you got your cast in place, how did the casting sort of help evolve the screenplay? Like once you cast everybody, did any of the characters that you had written change to fit the actors who were playing them?
That's how I like to make movies is you write the script. I think like making a movie for me at least is trying to get to a truth, or you're trying to say something, and how do you say it in the most truthful way? And to write the script, you get here, and then you cast and you get here.
Yep.
And then you change things on the day to get to that spot. And then editing helps too. But like everything changes as soon as an actor comes on board. And it's tricky because you try to, like right now, I'm trying to make these other movies, and these producers want the script to be like so locked in, and I'm like, guys, it's gonna change immensely as soon as this person comes on. It's gonna change immensely when this person comes on. That's just how I like to work. And I think like the reason why, because I had not written the role Andrew for myself at all, but what I realized was like I did write myself in a lot of ways, so casting myself like helped get to that place, and
Certainly.
I didn't have to change as much for that. But if I had cast someone else, it would have changed a ton.
Vanessa, what is it about Cooper that makes him a great actor's director?
I don't know, because like this is the first thing I did, so that's the only like kind of director that I know. But it helped since we were in the scene together all the time. We were always in the same spot. I always knew where he was coming from. Sometimes things don't translate because I need very specific instruction, but since we were always together and he was in the scene, I knew where he was coming from and I could understand better.
Sure. Cooper, I mean, you have an amazing cast on top of everybody else, on top of Vanessa and Dakota. You have Brad Garrett and Leslie Mann. I mean, what's it like working in those scenes with them? I mean, they're legends.
Both of them are so talented, and I was nervous and we didn't have any rehearsals. So the first scene with Leslie was also the first scene. It was that dinner table scene, and I was so nervous. And we did it, and it just like they're just so good that it flowed really well. And it was Evan and I were kind of looking at each other like, man, they're really good. And but it was just they're such good people and so fun to be around and so loving, and both of them. And I don't know, it was so they both like to improvise a lot, but I've worked with people who like to improvise, and it kind of, as a director, you kind of like have to reel it in, because I think some people are like, oh, we're gonna improvise, that means the scene gets away from what it was, but like they improvise within the scene, like they know there's a difference, and it, so you never have to reel anybody in. It's just like they're just trying things that work because they know who their characters are, and that was really fun.
Vanessa, what were your favorite scenes, or even just your favorite scene to film?
My favorite scene to film was when we were in the car at night. That was I love doing anything at night because I'm a night person, but that one specifically was the best.
Cooper, what was it like filming that scene?
Well, do you want to tell a story, Vanessa?
No, you can though.
It was just the driving scene. So there weren't even any lines, I don't think, but
no, there were originally.
There were, yeah, there was. But I had written that they went to a gas station, and so they had like treats, like there was a lolly or a popsicle or something like that.
Yeah, like ice cream pops.
Yeah, an ice cream pop. And Vanessa has this like horrible, not to be spoken about fear of vomiting, and she just kept talking in the back seat about about being nervous about throwing up. I'm like, you don't have to eat it, just hold it. She's like as the scene goes on, as we're driving more and more, she starts like just getting more and more panicky. And at some point she was like, I'm gonna need you guys to pull over the car. And so we pulled over, and it ended up just being a really, really fun time, because we weren't in any like real rush. And it was like, I think everyone else was kind of freaking out. Like they're like, oh, is Vanessa okay? And Dakota and I are like, yeah, she's fine. She just got a crazy fear of throwing up. And then we all went skipping together. It was really fun. It was a really fun night, and it brought us really close together, I think.
So Vanessa, what made you want to be an actor? Like, what was your inspiration?
I used to watch movies a lot when I was younger because I didn't really have any friends in school and I wasn't very social, even though I wanted to be. So movies kind of became my primary form of entertainment and the way that I learned about social skills and other people. And I've always been really interested in people. I just don't really spend a lot of time around them. So movies kind of filled that.
What was your favorite movie of all time?
Like when I was younger,
Now,
or like
now,
She has favorite-
younger, whatever you want.
Just favorite actresses. Do you have a favorite movie?
Adventureland.
Adventureland.
That's your
Yeah.
favorite movie of all time?
No, because I don't have one of all time because
Right.
it'll change. But that's been my favorite for 2 years.
Your favorite movie is going to change over the years. My favorite movie of all time is Blade Runner, but it wasn't always that like that. I had to like grow into that film. What about you, Cooper? What's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh God. I really
Put you on the spot, man.
I really like I love Almost Famous.
Good one.
I like, I don't know, I have so many. I just watched Tony Erdmann the other day, and that's a really good movie.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
2016, right? I saw that at
Yes.
Cannes.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
So, listen, Cooper, I want to ask you, when I saw Shithouse, it was virtually at home because of COVID. I was all set to go to Sundance in 2022, and then friggin' Omicron thing, stop that. And I watched your second feature film again at home virtually. It wasn't until I went to South by Southwest, which was the first South by Southwest in 3 years, after
Yeah.
the first South by Southwest was canceled, that I got to see Cha-Cha on the big screen with a group of people. And that was awesome. But how was that for you?
It was such a special night. It was, I don't know, it's just that those theater experiences, especially like festival experiences, they feel like, I remember it was my first festival that I'd ever been to, not just for my movie, but just it's my first festival, and I saw the Nick Cage movie there first,
yeah.
and I was like, this is a rock concert. I'm not in a
Totally.
movie, it's like a rock concert. And it felt, when we watched Cha-Cha, it was just, there was so much love, and it feels like such a heightened version of the movie, even because it's just all of the friends and like there was a lot of cast was there and crew, and the producers were there and reps were there. It just felt like so much love in one space. And Dakota was like right behind me, and she would be mad at me for saying this, but during the movie, she like whispered in my ear, I think this is the best movie of all time. And because that was the energy of that room. It just felt like, oh my gosh, we were just so proud. And so that was a great experience. I'm really glad we had it.
Yeah, no, it was just being there for all the films, and Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. You're right. That was a rock concert kind of movie. But Vanessa, were you at Sundance? Or I'm sorry, South by Southwest.
South by, yeah.
Yeah, I was at South by. I remember that very vividly because I felt like you always have to say that you really liked your premiere, but like I felt really good on that day. Like physically, I felt really good because it just felt like everyone was there for the same reason. And I don't know, it just felt like it felt like a community type of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Cooper, I wanted to add, when you made Shithouse and you had a debut at Sundance, it was like the first lockdown, of the Sundance that was affected by the lockdown. So when you made Cha-Cha Real Smooth, you made that under lockdown sort of COVID conditions. So what challenges did that bring for you as a filmmaker, and how did that unify the cast to really just bring your A game?
It didn't really unify us. It made it hard to unify because you don't see faces and you have to put your mask on in between every take, and so it sucked. But it I don't know, just that plain and simple, it just sucked. And I felt really bad for the COVID officer who had to like I don't know, it's no fun, but it's really important to keep everyone safe. And but no, I'm never like, oh, it was honestly at the end of the day, it was brought us all closer together. It didn't at all.
No.
But oh well, and the next time it won't be like that, hopefully. I guess it always will. Who knows?
What was that process like for you, Vanessa, to make your first movie, but have to make it with those like crazy protocols and safeguards and so on, with like masking and all that?
Well, luckily I didn't have any expectations since that was my first movie, but it was sort of like we had to get COVID tested 3 times a week, and they would like put the swab up to your brain, and then the person would come with the hand sanitizer, and the mask would give me pimples. So it wasn't like what I considered fun, but it was all I knew, and it was what I had to do the thing that I love. So I was fine with it.
Cooper, how long was your first cut of this movie?
It was pretty long. It's probably 2 hours and 30 minutes, I'd say. Yeah.
How do you get that down to 2 hours or to less than 2 hours?
It's easy to get it down to less than 2 hours, but it was hard to get it down to 1 hour and 47, I think is what it is. And it's just a matter of, I don't know, I think that it is the best version of the movie, but it's funny, you kind of have to, you just find a new movie in the edit sometimes, and figure out what's important and what was like important to you, maybe.
Sure.
And it's hard, but it's what you got to do, I think, sometimes.
Sure. Vanessa, what did you love about acting? And what did you learn about the acting process making your first feature film?
I don't know, because I don't like separate it like that. Like I don't separate the experience of being on set with the experience of acting. So I just enjoyed the whole thing because of the way it made me feel and how I felt like I was part of something, and that what I had to say mattered. But it wasn't like about the process. I just liked to be there. I wanted to be there all the time. Since I was under 18, I had to leave after 10 hours, and I would feel so upset at the end of every day when they weren't finished and I had to leave because I just wanted to be there all the time.
Sure. Cooper, do you feel like the reaction to Shithouse gave you confidence to take some bigger swings and bigger chances on your follow-up, Cha-Cha Real Smooth?
Not really. I don't know why. With Shithouse, I was it wasn't confidence. It was just like, I didn't think anyone was going to see it. So I was like, I'm just going to make it the way. And there were no like, there was no one who I had to kind of like answer to. Like with the movie, this Cha-Cha is so much more expensive. So I felt like more eyes and trying to please more people. And also knowing that people are going to see it. And so it made me more self-conscious probably, and it made me take maybe less risk. I don't know. That's an interesting question. Now going forward, I'm kind of like, I think I want to take more risks, and I think I can I can like ask people to trust me a bit more.
Sure.
But like in terms of being self-assured, I think I was probably more self-assured with Shithouse actually. But yeah, but that's an interesting question.
So Vanessa, you were talking before about remembering your lines. So how do you remember your lines?
I don't know. I see them. I'm very visual, so I see things in my brain. So I'll look at a piece of paper, and then I'll look at the words for a second, and then I'll not look at the piece of paper. And it's like I have the piece of paper in my mind. So
that's what you call a photographic memory.
Yeah. So it's like I memorized the lines, but I didn't really memorize them because I'm reading them off the front of my brain.
How about you, Cooper?
Not that way. When I write for myself, I do this stupid thing where I think that I know the lines because I've spent so much time with them. Then I always get to set and forget that I haven't learned my lines. And I just kind of go with it. There were times when I probably didn't know my lines very well, but Vanessa just like always knows everything. I think I knew the story and knew the character and knew the scenes so well that I was able to manage, but I did a bad job memorizing my lines a lot of times.
So Vanessa, what actors, actresses would you love to work with?
I don't know, because anyone unfamiliar is like someone who I don't want to be around at first. Like, even if I like their movies or even if I think they're like admirable. So I think until I meet the person, I don't know, because I'm kind of closed off to most people.
Sure.
So you want to work with me again?
There you go.
Yeah, because you're
What about you,
familiar.
Cooper? What actors and actresses do you want to work with?
Vanessa.
Vanessa.
There's a lot of actors who are so great, and I would love to work with all of them one day.
Well, hopefully you will get your chance. I am sure you will. Cha-Cha Real Smooth is streaming now on Apple TV Plus. Absolutely, positively watch it if you have not seen it. If you have seen it, see it again, because it does hold up under repeated viewings, and I can tell you that from experience. So thank you so much, Vanessa and Cooper. It is great to see you again. And thank you both for joining us on the SAG-AFTRA Foundation Conversation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.